Now, if you have a nice strong muscle up, the next skill to learn would be the forward roll. Let's go through that today. So let's first break the movement down into its different components. So the start position could be our standard L-sit or a tucked L-sit position, and then we need to be able to get upside down. So that's going from that L-sit position through to the shoulder stand. Now, either tuck or straight. I'd recommend you stick with a tuck position when you're first learning these skills. So let's just see if we can go between our tuck L-sit position to our tuck shoulder stand. 4 repetitions. We want to make this nice and comfortable. We don't want to be using too much energy just to get into these positions, because we want our energy into the harder, challenging parts when we start to go upside down, find the false grip and roll through. So the next section is actually the roll. So if we go back to that shoulder stand and we're going to try and go through the rings with as much control as possible, we're not going to be worried about trying to roll around back on top of the rings yet. So we're just not going to get into the false grip. We're just going to stay on that tuck L-sit through to the tuck shoulder stand, and then I'm just going to roll through the rings. Now notice as I went through the rings, and you can see it because the strap's twisted, I allow my hands to twist. That will make sense as you roll through the rings. So again, I'm not trying to get back around the ring yet. I'm just trying to build confidence and control doing the roll. So let's do it one more time, and I'll slow it down on the camera so you can see what happens as I roll through the rings. And I even, as I go through, open the legs up a little bit and get a bit of contact with the straps, which is going to help. So it's going to create some friction and just slow me down even more. And then the next part is like the forward roll muscle up section when we get into that strong false grip position. So we need to make sure that we're nicely warmed up, we have good flexibility. This is what I struggle with all the handstands, making sure that I have enough range of motion so I can get into that strong false grip and be able to push down constantly on the rings. So make sure mobility is good, do a few warm-up exercises, even some hangs in your false grip position. Make sure that feels nice and strong. A few muscle ups maybe, because the stronger your muscle up is, the easier this is going to be on that transition, that catch. This is actually easier than a muscle up if you get the technique correct. Now, normal deal with the false grip, make sure you got some chalk on there so it just gives you less room for error. You're not going to slip as much. You just want to have really good contacts between that sweet spot on the wrist and the ring. Then I'm going to jump up that tuck position for the L-sit through to the shoulder stand. Now this one's a little bit different. Now I'm going to open the legs up. I'm going to bring the rings together. So I'm going to make contact. I'm going to look at the rings. I'm going to turn them and watch as I go down again into the false grip. Keep the false grip. Roll around and then push back out. Now that's actually a bit harder to push back up high again through the top of the transition back to that support position, but it makes the transition into the false grip as you roll much easier to understand. And then once you have that understanding, you've practiced that a little bit, and you just start to speed it up. Now just remember, as you go over, we want to roll the head around and back on top of the rings as quick as possible. We want to try and get that round momentum happening, so that looping technique. So from the tuck position there, I'm going to bring the rings in, turn them, false grip, roll around, back up on top. Now you can see that was much less effort, but I didn't do the slow down section to try and find the false grip. It's all around twisting the rings and getting the timing correct. And then the faster and smoother you can make it, the easier it is. And then once you have one down, you can try multiple repetitions. You could put it into routines or just make it stronger and stronger as a single movement. Check out my website if you're interested in coaching, and I'll speak to you in the next one. Thanks, guys.